So, when everything is said and done, Euphoria Season 3, Episode 1 doesn't really give us a clear answer. It gives us a direction. Rue isn't healed, she isn't safe, and she's definitely not in control of where her life is heading. That final moment with Alamo and the apple shot doesn't feel like survival in a normal sense. It feels like acceptance. Rue laughs, not because she's free, but because she doesn't fully know how to process what just happened. And that reaction alone tells us everything. She's no longer responding to danger like someone trying to escape it. She's responding like someone trying to understand why she's still alive inside it. And that's where episode 1 leaves us. Not with closure, but with momentum. Rue is now standing inside another system, one that looks structured on the surface but feels just as controlling underneath. And whether she realizes it or not, she is already being absorbed into it. There's something immediately off about Euphoria Season 3, Episode 1. Not in a bad way, but in a way that makes you uncomfortable without knowing exactly why. The colors are still there, the style is still bold, the emotional weight is still heavy, but the world feels like it has moved forward without really healing anything that happened before. Time has passed, but nothing feels resolved, and Rue is still at the center of it. Only now she's not a teenager trying to survive high school chaos. She's an adult trying to survive the consequences of everything she never properly escaped. And that difference changes everything. Because Rue in this episode is not reacting anymore like someone in crisis. She's reacting like someone who has adapted to crisis as a normal state of living. That's Rue's world after high school. We pick up with Rue already in motion. There's no stable home base, no clear routine, no emotional anchor that feels reliable. Everything about her life feels temporary. She's working, moving, surviving, but nothing feels like progress. And that's important because Rue has never really experienced progress in a traditional sense. For her, life has always been stability, collapse, recovery, relapse, hope, damage. So even when she's not actively self-destructing, her life still carries the rhythm of instability. And that's what makes this version of Rue so dangerous, not to others, but to herself. Because she no longer reacts to chaos as something unusual. She reacts to it as something familiar. Telef, Laurie's presence never left. Even when Laurie isn't physically in the scene, her influence is still everywhere. Rue's connection to her past with Laurie is not something that fades, it lingers, because Laurie represents something deeper than just a drug dealer. She represents ownership, control disguised as opportunity. And that idea is still shaping Rue's choices in this episode, even when she thinks she's moved past it. Because debt in Rue's world isn't just financial, it's psychological. It changes how she sees freedom. It changes how she sees survival. It changes how she sees herself. So when Laurie's influence resurfaces indirectly, it doesn't feel like a return. It feels like continuity, like Rue was never actually removed from that system, just temporarily displaced inside it. The shift into Alamo's world. And then comes Alamo. This is where episode 1 starts to feel different, because Alamo's world is not chaotic in the same way Rue is used to. It is structured, quiet, controlled, almost ritualistic. And that's exactly why it pulls her in so easily. Rue has always struggled with emotional stability, which means she is naturally drawn to environments that look stable, even when they aren't safe. And Alamo's environment looks stable. People follow rules. There is hierarchy. There is order. There is silence where there should be noise. And for Rue, that creates something extremely dangerous, the illusion of safety. Because when you've lived inside chaos long enough, structure starts to feel like peace, even when it isn't. The collapse moment. The turning point inside Alamo's world happens fast. A moment of chaos breaks through the structure. A woman collapses after drug exposure, and suddenly the illusion breaks. What felt controlled is revealed to still be deeply unstable underneath. And Rue is caught right in the middle of it. This is where her position shifts. She is no longer just observing, she is now involved, and Alamo notices that immediately, because in his world, involvement is everything. You are either outside the system or inside it. There is no in between. The apple test. And then comes the moment that defines the episode. The apple. The gun. The silence. Alamo places the apple on Rue's head and fires. The bullet hits, not her, just the apple, and everything stops, because this is not just a test of skill. It feels like a test of perception, of control, of psychological response. And Rue doesn't react the way most people would. She doesn't scream, she doesn't run, she laughs. And that laugh changes the entire meaning of the scene because it's not a reaction of fear. It's not even relief. It's something closer to emotional overload, a break in the way her mind processes danger. Like her system has stopped translating fear into escape and started translating it into meaning. What the laugh really means. This is where the episode becomes psychological rather than physical. Because Rue's laugh tells us something important, she is no longer interpreting survival as randomness. She is interpreting it as significance. As if surviving something extreme automatically means something bigger is guiding her life. That belief is not new for Rue. It has existed since the beginning of her story. Every time she survives something traumatic, she doesn't process it as coincidence. She processes it as a message. And that's what makes her vulnerable. Because people like Alamo don't just deal in violence, they deal in interpretation. They don't just control actions, they control meaning. And Rue, right now, is highly receptive to meaning.